All right. Hello, hello. Can everybody hear me? We are live. Yep. Okay, cool. All right. Welcome, everybody. Thank you for joining. Yes, of course, we're talking about Clawdbot today. Andrea's Michaelis just burned $100 on tokens. Yep. Yep. Talk to me. It is absolutely addicting. Let's go Tampa. Jermaine Wesley. Let's see. Where's everybody from? Jumpstar official. Do not install Clawdbot. Bad advice. Memphis, Tennessee. Douglas Hirsch. Andrea from Switzerland. Official whatnot. Canada. Oh my gosh, going so fast. Tilmaine, Sweden. Rick Fernandez from Brazil. Game Over Dave, Ontario. Zicard, Cork, Ireland. Nick's Dirty Wings. Yo, quit the yap. Let's see the Claude. All right, all right. Yeah, man. Couldn't stop playing with it this weekend. Could not stop obsessing about it this weekend. I basically didn't stop working all weekend, testing it out. Haim from Israel, welcome. Dan from Denmark, welcome. You guys still have Greenland, that's right. Yeah, Jumpstar official. It's a literal Trojan horse and network worm. I don't know if I'd say that. It's certainly an exposed attack vector, but not much more than that. It's not evil. It's open source. Go look at the code. Ken, Vio, are you sponsored by them? No, not in the slightest. We are trying to get the founder on the show, on the live show of Forward Future Live on Friday. That is the extent of my connections. I am downloading everything myself. I am paying for all the tokens myself. I am not paid by Clawdbot. In fact, nobody's paid by Clawdbot. In the comments on my previous video about Clawdbot, so many of you asked or kind of accused of being paid by Clawdbot and everybody. But no, it is just awesome, and everybody's talking about it at the same time. That happens sometimes. It's kind of like the DeepSeek moment from a year ago. DeepSeek did not pay everybody. It's just awesome. Stream glitched out for you, Dickie Benfield. Let me just double check. Brian, Alex, how's it looking? Stream is fine. Okay. I have my colleague Jonah sitting right next to me. You want to come say hi for a sec, Jonah? He's going to be helping out on stream a bit.
Hello, everyone.
All right. And yeah, so we're going to be talking all about Claude today. Clawdbot, I should say. I have a bunch of tweets I want to go over. I have a bunch of topics I want to go over. So let's get into it. And actually, I have something kind of special. Let's see if this works. There we are. All right. So what you're seeing in the bottom right is my active Claude. My active Claude. So I'm going to be telling it, and we can try things, and I told it explicitly. Let's see if I could just scroll up a little bit. I told it, do not expose my API keys, passwords, personal emails, phone numbers, addresses, private messages, financial details, any credentials or secrets. And so, rolling the dice on this one. Hopefully, hopefully it doesn't. So if we want to find out more info, I'll be using that. If you guys want me to do yeah. Brian, don't give them suggestions, please. Is this browser based? Eric Bressy. Is this browser based? No, Clawdbot is local. You host it on your own machine. You could also put it on some cloud system. You could put it on AWS. You could put it on a virtual private system. Initially, I had it on this computer, which is a Mac Studio. And then this morning, I had an old MacBook, and I just plugged it in, set it up, and now it's completely a clean environment, completely encapsulated on that device. And that's what you're seeing in the bottom right. Jumpstar official, what could possibly go wrong? Let's find out together. I don't know if I can have it read this chat. That makes me nervous. I don't think I'm going to do that, because if it's reading the chat, it's just exposing itself to prompt injections. Just to show you it's working, hopefully it doesn't crash. There we go. That's Clawdbot. All right. Let's see. What should we go over first? So, by the way, Peter Steinberger is the author, the original creator, who was retired after selling his previous software company. And I'm going to talk a little bit about who he is and kind of the very brief history of Clawdbot, because it really hasn't been around all that long. So I'll get to that in a moment, just deciding what to do first here. You ain't one Stulast. Is Clawdbot good with long-running tasks? Kind of, yes. I mean, generally, yes. It does struggle with the things that typical AI coding assistants struggle with. So you can kind of think of it, and the more I've used it, the more I've realized it is basically like vibe coding, except you're kind of programming the AI directly. So it still has a lot of limitations, and maybe that's a good place to start. Some of the limitations I've noticed are things like context rot. It doesn't have infinite memory. And even though you tell it, hey, put this thing I'm telling you in memory, it will, but it has a limited context window. And whichever model you're using is determining what the context limit is. So that's, we get context compaction, you lose details. And I think what's really interesting is when you mix in, like there was a research paper a week or so ago talking about being able to extend context windows to 10 million pretty successfully. When you start mixing in projects like that, I get really excited. Gemini, has 1 million or 2 million token context windows. But, at the end of the day, where you still kind of suffer from the same problems you would with any AI system, which is the more information you give it, it starts to forget, it starts to confuse things. So you just have to keep that in mind. Even after you give it specific direction, after a long enough period of time, it may just forget. So just keep that in mind as you're thinking about what are the edges of what this system is capable of. And that's really how I think about it. If you're a seasoned vibe coder, then it will feel very natural and very familiar to you. Let's ask it. What are your limitations as a system? Specifically, Clawdbot. The Dintronic, I thought this was more for personal assistant than coding. Yes, it totally is an AI personal assistant. The thing is, it is also a coder, right? So it has access to your system. It is, you can kind of think of it like a wrapper around Claude Code or whatever other coding assistant you want, but it has access to your system. It has access to its own environment. It can write code. It can build tools. But all of those things are for the purpose of helping you get things done as an AI assistant. So let's say you need access to your Google Calendar. It can download skills. It can write custom skills for you. And that's why the coding part is important, because the coding part allows it to actually accomplish real world skills for you. Real world tasks, I should say. Yeah, cron jobs are incredible. Yes, Legacy Inc. Not true. It's exceptional at coding if you know how to use it. Just me looking at cron jobs. Yeah. So a big part of what it does and a big part of why it's so cool is cron jobs. And if you're not familiar with cron jobs, they are essentially scheduled tasks. Whether you're scheduling them once or multiple times, you can define a cron job directly in natural language, directly through Telegram or whatever the chat apparatus you're using is, and just tell it to do the thing X number of times or at a certain time during the day. And it's really, really powerful. So sorry, my dog's barking. One that I like to do is every morning give me a summary of the events that I have for the day. If I'm meeting with anybody outside of my kind of core team, my forward future team, go ahead and look up who that person is and give me a little bit of context about them. And so it'll do that. So let me show you. Remind me in 30 seconds, remind me in, say hello to me in 30 seconds using a cron job, then delete that job. All right, so there it is. Can you all hear my dog barking, by the way? Woof. Yes, all right. Sorry about that. I think my dog is jealous of Claude because I'm paying attention to Claude more. I'm going to go get my dog and bring her in here. Give me a minute. All right, we're back. Dog's in the office now. All right, so there it is. So you could see, done, job scheduled for 30 seconds from now. It'll auto delete after firing, waiting for it, and then job deleted. So obviously this is like a super simple example, but you can like think of incredible things. So one example is I have to take the trash out on Sundays, and where I live, it has this weird schedule for recycling, which alternates every week. You have to either put paper recycling or bottle recycling, can recycling. I kept forgetting. So I basically said, okay, go to the website of my municipality, find out what the schedule is, record it, and then every Sunday morning, I want you to tell me exactly the trash to put out. And it is able to do that. And it's actually really cool. So scheduled tasks are just a huge value from Clawdbot. Dickie Benfield, I assume the name Claude was ironic, a play on Claude. Yep. And I think Claude as in like, the claws of a lobster. All right, let's talk about some stuff now. So, by the way, if you want me to run any tasks or do any cool stuff with my Claude right now, just let me know in chat. I'll try to keep track of it, and we'll see. Lazy Stack, will this kill N8N? No, I don't think so. Why would it? I think you can think of it as something that can control N8N. You can set up maybe more sophisticated automations with it. I don't know. Actually, a decent question. Okay. Jonah, what should we go over first?
Let's go over people's sort of reactions to this last weekend.
Okay. All right. So let's look at some reactions. Where do we start? Clawdbot update? No. Previous December update. How about Peter?
Yeah.
The guy who built it? Is that him? Here we go. All right. So here's a good. So this is the guy who built it. His name's Peter. What's his last name again? Peter. All right, Peter Steinberger. Peter Steinberger. This is him. Bro came back from retirement, built Clawdbot, solved AI forgets everything problem, and still gave it to us for free. Absolute legend. Yes, very nice. Peter. Here he is. So this is him. So I saw him a few weeks ago just continuously talking about Clawdbot. And then finally I was like, okay, what is it? And I started to look into it. Then last week the hype started to pick up, and that's then over the weekend I really went deep into it. I want to find out a little bit about him though. Let's see if he has a Wiki page. No, I don't think this is him. And by the way, Clawdbot is shipping updates daily, it seems. Obviously, open source repo, tons of people are submitting issues, tons of people are submitting PRs. And so I think what we're going to see is a lot of updates very quickly.
Send you his LinkedIn.
Okay, thanks. I'll take a look at that. All right. Change the model by, right. You can run local models, yes. So what models are available to you right now? I did previously have LM Studio running with yeah, I did previously have LM Studio running locally. I had, let's see, Quen and GLM. I think GLM was the other one. I could probably just spin that up again too and give it access to that again. All right, so I'm loading two models up. I'm loading Quen 3 30B and I'm loading GLM 4.7 Flash, both in LM Studio. And then I'm gonna for access. And I'll show you what that looks like. I'm kind of all over the place. I apologize. And then I have a surprise, something I'm going to be setting up with Jonah today. So I'll show you that in a moment. Okay. So right now it's using Claude Opus. By the way, I don't know if you saw my video yesterday, but I had a jump scare when I looked at my bill. Here is a big tip. Do not use the API for Claude directly. Use your subscription plan. It's a very different setup. Rather than going into Claude and pulling an API key, you authenticate locally with Claude Code, and then Clawdbot can access your subscription through that. Now, I've heard some people say you can't do that anymore. Anthropic is revoking access if you try to do that. Basically, Anthropic wants you to use Claude Code directly. And so we'll see if that happens. It hasn't happened yet. Czar187, use anti-gravity OAuth login. What does that get me? JBron, TOS violation speed run. Possibly. You know, what's the worst that'll happen? I just switch models. All right, so let's try this. I just spun up LM Studio. You have access to Qwen 3 and GLM 4.7. Check if you can access them. Anti-gravity and Gemini OAuth give you the same free quota as this tool's for Gemini. Okay, that is an excellent point, but then you have to use Gemini models, which I actually haven't tried with Claude yet. I'm sure they're fantastic. Okay, connection refused. Let's see. Is my server running? Oh, yeah, it's not running. That would help. There we go. Okay, started server. Try again. Gemini, who's that? Let's see. CJ the Creative, Gemini 3 is not that good. 5.2 is better. Okay, good to know. Okay, port 1234 is still closed. Can you double check LM Studio? Yes. Okay, so it is reachable. So it should be there. There's no reason I shouldn't be able to do this right now. So let's get this working because now I'm frustrated. All right, try this in the terminal. Yep. That worked. Okay. Yes, that worked. I can reach it in terminal. And so, by the way, this is why it feels like vibe coding to me, because like I'm trying to work through an issue with it and I'm chatting with it the same way I would Claude Code or Cursor or anything else. All right. This, I don't know. I'm not logged into LinkedIn. Let's see if I could do that separately. All right, so here he is, Peter Steinberger. So went to university, graduated in 2012, was a freelancer, was a senior iOS developer at Scribd, which was very popular around this time. Then he founded PSPDF Kit, which I don't even know what that is. We help businesses work smarter and faster, saving time and expenses along the way, and freeing developers to focus on building great products. Our B2B solutions span from viewing, signing, annotation, to filling forms and document manipulation. I believe he sold this company. Jonah, can you tell me PSPDF kit? He sold that, I believe. And can you find out who he sold that to? I guess I could just ask Clawdbot. Can I tell Gunners Cobra? Can I tell Clawdbot to get me a girlfriend? You can certainly try.
Insight Partners.
Insight Partners? What is that? Private equity, right?
Majority acquisition, leading global venture capital and equity.
Can you send me a link to that, please?
Insight Partners, yeah.
Or just whatever link you're looking at.
I'm looking at AI. I'm sending it to you.
Oh, that is the problem. Okay, got it. Right. That makes a lot of sense here. Okay, so back to here. That's why it's not working. I am on my Mac Studio, which I don't have Claude running on. So that makes sense. Okay, disregard. Not running it locally. Just kidding.
One sec.
All right. Does it say an amount that he was acquired for? Yeah, here we go. No. Developer tools to be... Okay, I don't see it. But yeah, his product was acquired. He retired, came out of retirement to build Clawdbot. So good on him. All right, let's look at some reactions. PS PDF kit wasn't acquired but received significant strategic growth. He basically had an infusion of capital, and obviously he got some of that, so I think that's it. All right. The Discord for Clawdbot is growing massively. Went from 0 to thousands of devs on Discord hacking together new messages every minute, impossible to keep up. Also just shipped support for Beeper, Homie, and Fastmail. Okay. Okay. Yeah. I think let's talk about the Mac Mini craze. Who in chat has purchased or plans to purchase a Mac Mini to put their Clawdbot on? Because this is interesting. I think we should talk about this for a minute. How to actually get Clawdbot up and running. What's appropriate from a security, privacy standpoint. Ephra, okay, but seriously, WTF is Clawdbot. It is an AI personal assistant that you can run on your own machine. It's open source. You can connect a bunch of different services that you use. And yeah, just think of it as an AI personal assistant with memory that can schedule tasks for you, can really do anything. But also keep in mind there is a security risk. Why not VPS? Yeah, that's another option. I think it's time to break out the pen and Remarkable. Let's see. See if we can get this working. All right, let's talk about how to actually set this up. So I think option one is going to be, I don't know, whatever machine you're on currently. This is a computer. Forgive me, I am horrible at drawing. Okay. So, oh, it's not updating. All right. Give me a sec. There we go. Okay. So this is option one. You have your computer and you can install Clawdbot directly on it. Okay. Now there are some inherent risks. All of your passwords, all of your keys, your history, your file system, it's all on this one machine. And originally, I didn't really think that's a big deal because you're basically going to give Clawdbot access to all of your important servers, or you could, right? Services. So Gmail, Drive, Slack, Asana, basically everything that you can connect Clawdbot to, you are exposing yourself to some inherent risk there. So like, what's the difference? Why not just install it on your home machine? And you know, I did some research and I thought about this some more, and it actually makes sense to isolate Clawdbot. And there's really two reasons for this. One attack vector is prompt injection. And so if you have this, if you have Clawdbot on your kind of personal computer, the one that you have all of the information you already have, your personal files, your photos, etc., you're basically giving Clawdbot the ability to access those things either accidentally or maliciously through prompt injection. And so you want to try to avoid that. So that is really one of the biggest reasons why I thought, okay, maybe I shouldn't do that. Especially when you think about keychain access and all of that. So basically what I did is I spun up, I had this this little MacBook laying around. I wiped it. I put only the bare necessities on it. And that's what I installed Clawdbot on. And that's what you're seeing here, or that you were seeing in the corner there, which I'll bring back in a moment. And so, yeah, if it deletes your stuff, if, you know, everything I do is on my personal computer. So I was like, okay, let's put it somewhere else. I think that makes a lot of sense. So option one, your computer. High risk. Okay. Option two, new computer. Okay, so you have a new isolated computer. This is one that you've wiped of all keys, all history, all chat history, all photos, everything. And it's one that you actually have physically, and this is what I've done with that MacBook sitting over there. And you just install Clawdbot on it. You install the bare minimum of what is necessary to run Clawdbot, and Clawdbot still has access to its own environment. It is still local, and it can execute code. It can do all of that, which, you know, it is one benefit of option one is it has access to absolutely everything, so it is the most capable. Now, when you switch to option number two, it becomes slightly less capable because it doesn't have access to everything you've ever done, but I think that trade-off of capability versus additional risk exposure doesn't make a lot of sense. So for me, putting it on this MacBook just was a no-brainer. So this is what I'm doing. But what people seem to be doing, and I'm going to butcher this, is put it on a Mac Mini. That's what a Mac Mini looks like. Okay. Everybody's talking about why a Mac Mini. So why? Well, it's extremely powerful. The base model, I believe, is $599, so it's on the relatively cheap side. Very efficient, very low power. You can set it up, plug it in, and it'll just sit there quietly. It is a beautiful device. It's Apple, so it's very easy to get all this stuff set up and running. And I think that is why. That is why people are rushing to get Mac Minis. But Peter said you don't need it. Okay, so just keep that in mind. Founder said you don't actually need to buy a separate device. And there are a few other ways you can do this. Okay, so this is, I think, option 2. What would you consider this? If you're, for a MacBook, medium risk, low risk, very low, no risk. I mean, it's never no risk with Clawdbot. I don't know. I think
Medium.
if medium, let's say it's medium risk. Install Clawdbot into your fridge, Slopcorp. Yeah. Crust Bear, even Raspberry Pi is enough. Yeah. Tom98, I have dedicated servers running Oracle VirtualBox. Actually, chat, everybody put what, like if you've done Clawdbot, if you've installed it, let me know in chat what you've done. Okay, so with this option, oh, cool. Look at that. I didn't know that Remarkable did that. You see a little red dot? That's cool. I'm just hovering over. Sweet. I really did not know about that. I really like this device. All right, so with this option, you still have you still have some passwords. You still have some keys because you have to set it up. You have to give it access to the internet. You have to log in for the first time on a lot of these services. But it is far fewer. Okay? So I think this is actually like quite a good option. But those aren't all the options. Let's keep going. Nick8292, the issue is how much it costs, Matt. Yeah, the cheapest option is spinning up either a virtual private server on or a virtualized environment on your existing machine. But if you can't handle that, then I think you can get a kind of cloud-based VPS for like $5 a month. So there's definitely like very inexpensive ways to get this set up. Hetzner VPS, only €5 per month. I'm not familiar with that, so I can't recommend it, but that's an option somebody's saying. AWS is for free. Mooncatcher, thank you. AWS could be for free. I don't know for sure, but sounds good. Solo2121, Matt, bro, if you aren't a security eng, you should really not give this advice. Totally. This is all what my perspective is on it. I've been in engineering for a very long time. Hopefully I'm getting some of this stuff right. But if you have suggestions, feedback, let me know in chat. Okay, so another one is, let's say, option 3, which would be, let's say, local isolated environment. And what are some tools for that? I just read about something. It's like a single word, single syllable. Chat, what is it? There's a few options for Mac where you can spin up a virtual environment on your machine. I just read about it and I'm forgetting the name. Parallels is one option, but there's a simpler one.
VMware?
No. Does anybody know? Loom, yes. Music, RY2JB, Loom. Loom is what I heard about. UTM is another good option I heard about. I think those are probably some good options. Let's say Loom, UTM. Okay. We have WSL for Windows. Docker. Docker is another example. Actually, I'll take a note for that for later. Yeah, Docker is essentially a virtualized environment. Peter himself said to use Docker. So just a heads up there. Yeah, the repo solo 2121, just do Docker. The repo already has a Docker file in it. That is what he suggests. I think what would be really cool is if you could set up a virtualized environment and be able to access it from somewhere else, just in case your Clawdbot goes down. So I don't know if Docker can do that. I believe Loom and UTM you can, but again, I've not used these tools, so I don't know. All right, so we have Docker, Loom, UTM, and so you have basically like, let me move my screen a little bit so you all can see this. Okay, so you have kind of normal Mac window, and then within it, you have another operating system. All right, and so everything is essentially encapsulated within this new environment. And so you're basically just spinning up a new computer within your computer. And it won't have access to all the files outside of that environment. So that is, I think, a good option. And this is also still medium risk because you still need to give it access to certain passwords, certain keys. None of this is going to be low risk, by the way. Is there another option? Oh, cloud-based, right?
And linking more than one computer.
All right, we'll come back to that. So option 4, put it in the cloud. Okay, here's my attempt to draw a cloud, but your cloud will sit there. And so you're going to need a computer to access the cloud, to tell it what to do, but essentially everything is sitting within this cloud environment. Now, there was a post that went around this weekend where it showed a ton of people who installed it in the cloud basically just left it with no authentication, which means anybody can just go access your cloud and get it to do whatever they want. So definitely some risk there as well. I would even say maybe this is slightly higher risk. Sweet Systems, just looking Hostinger. Hostinger has been a sponsor of my channel in the past, offers VPS with Docker for about $7 a month. Cool. Halfify divided, how long before Anthropic makes their own Clawdbot? Probably not long. And I'd say OpenAI would be shortly after that. AmoroCore. Hi, Matthew. I'm wondering why Clawdbot keeps pausing when I run it using Claude. Even though I am on the Max plan, I am running it on my main Mac. I don't know why it's pausing. If you go into your Claude dashboard, you should be able to see your usage, which is a rolling window. I believe Claude Max, you get a 5-hour rolling window, and then you also get a monthly window, if I remember correctly. And it's not super clear how they do the calculation on how much you're using. It's basically a percentage. And as you're using it, it goes up. And Clawdbot is very token hungry. So just keep that in mind. Yeah, 888U6N. Is there any way to stop it from using so many tokens? Yeah, that's exactly what I just said. It is very token hungry. It'll probably get better. They will probably start to layer in more caching and other things. I think one thing you could possibly do is tell it to use and store more tools rather than trying to recreate them each time. But this is, kind of the issues you run into with vibe coding in general. So you have your computer, you access Claude from the cloud, Cloud, and there are a bunch of good options. Someone said AWS is free. Hostinger is an option. What happened, base? Claude. Sorry if you are new. Yeah. All right. So, Brian, if you're watching, can you put a poll out on these four options and what people think might be the most secure option out there? Let me move this a little bit. So let's have a vote. Am I missing anything, by the way? I know you talked about a separate machine, but that's essentially option 2, right? Like just having a separate Mac Mini or a MacBook.
We could potentially firewall a separate machine in some way so that like certain information is kept away or sanitized.
All right, so we're gonna run a quick poll to see what y'all think. Can we use it? Can we use regular M1? Yeah, I mean, this thing can run on Raspberry Pi. All the processing can be done in the cloud. And when I say processing, I mean inference. Okay, so Brian in a sec is going to throw up a poll. I want to see what everybody thinks is the best option. Right now, I started with option 1. Let's see if I can get that back. Oh, look at that red dot. So cool. I started with option 1 here. And then after kind of reading a bunch and understanding the actual risks of exposing everything that I have on my personal computer to Clawdbot, I switched to option 2. I just had a spare MacBook laying around. I wiped it, installed everything on it, and it is up and running, and that is what we see. All right. There we go. What is safest chat? Option 1, option 2, option 3, option 4. Brian, can you edit the options and put just like a brief description? I don't know if you can actually do that or not once we post it. So I think what I would vote for, actually, I'm not going to tell you. I'll wait till after, then I'll tell you. I mean, I think it's obvious it's the one I'm going for, but. All right. Let's see. For now, we have option 1, your own computer, personal computer. Option 2, a new isolated computer. Option 3, a local but isolated environment. Excuse me. And option 4, in the cloud, Claude Cloud. Okay, so we can't. So let's close the voting in about 1 minute because I want to go back and talk about some other things. What do you think we should talk about next? More reactions?
More reactions and maybe where this is headed.
Cool. We can also look at some of the open PRs and open issues that people are seeing on the actual repo.
That's a cool idea.
Yeah. All right. All right. I think let's close the poll, please, and let's see what the results are. All right. So number 2 at 40%, number 4 23%, number 3 23%, number 1 at 14%. 142 votes. My vote is for option 2, just because it's local. I can, place my hand on it. It's a little bit easier. It's a completely isolated machine. I think option 3 is pretty much the same. Option 4, I don't love. I want to have it local. That's just my preference. That's the power. So that is what I'm most excited about. All right. All right, we're back. What tier is your Claude plan? Okay, PK Scary. What tier is your Claude plan, and do you run past your message token limits? I am on the max tier. That is $100 a month. I just upgraded specifically for Clawdbot. Yeah, I run past it all the time. I mean, it's like it's easy to do that, especially with that rolling 5-hour window. You can always buy more credits. I don't really want to. I'm starting to experiment with OpenAI models, Gemini models. I don't need Opus all the time. I'm also trying to give it better direction on which models to use. Okay, new poll. Have you installed Clawdbot yet? Yes or no? Yeah, so I'm trying to give it better direction. And I think this is actually one of the biggest shortcomings of Clawdbot right now is it is very difficult to give it explicit direction on how you want it to select different models. So when I first set it up, I had the Anthropic family of models, right? So I had Opus, Sonnet, Haiku. Then I also decided to run LM Studio locally. I downloaded Qwen. I downloaded GLM 4.7. And what I wanted to do is I wanted it to use Sonnet as my main chat. Then I wanted it to, for any like sophisticated planning or longer term projects, I wanted it to use Opus. For any code, I wanted it to write it with Haiku because Haiku is very cheap and very fast and still really good at coding. Then for any cron jobs, for any local file management, anything that I'm doing where I'm manipulating my computer, I wanted to use a local model because they are more than capable of doing that. If I explicitly gave it the direction to do that, it would do it. But when I said, okay, here's what I want and follow this process or follow this policy going forward, it wouldn't be able to do it. It would frequently forget. And then another thing which I've been layering on recently is subagents. So Clawdbot has subagents, which is really cool, really useful. But you really have to like prod it to use subagents. You really have to explicitly say, make sure you're going to use subagents. Even if you tell it, remember this, put it in your memory.md file, put it in your soul file. It still requires you to really tell it every single time. And so that is a bit frustrating, and I hope it gets better. What I'd like to see is a daisy chain where I can say, here's exactly how I want you to fall back to different models. Here are the use cases, and I want it to follow it to a T. By the way, have you all seen the soul file yet? So there are kind of a few main files. I'm trying to find it. We have the agents. There should be a soul file. Maybe it creates the soul on the fly. Do you know? All right, well, let's take a look at the agents file, agents.md. Actually, we're not going to do that. Okay. I want to see, there are 392 issues currently, and they are coming in quickly. And that is because you can use Clawdbot to submit issues to the Clawdbot repo. So I can simply type out some issue that I found here and say, go submit an issue to its to its repo, and it will do so. 8 Rice, soul file's overly simplistic. It needs a world model. Please look at AutoNet. Okay. Feature add Claude stop command. This is actually really cool. So if you give Claude some like big task and then you realize, oh, I missaid that, you can actually stop it midstream, which is really cool. So let's test that out. Let's say write a 500-word story. Okay, so you can see it's going. Now, before it finishes, I'll just say wait. And then it immediately says, Agent was aborted. Interesting. It came back to this. Okay. Forget the task to connect to LM Studio. Yeah, so this is what I mean. Little issues here and there, but that's part of vibe coding. This is part of vibe AI assistanting. Okay, but anyway, so this is what you can do. You can stop it midway through, and you can also explicitly give it instructions to use sub-agents. So let me try that for a second. So you can say something like, use haiku, write a 1,000-word story. Make sure to delegate it to a sub-agent. Okay, so let's see how that does. So what's happening right now is I'm still chatting with Opus. Opus is kicking off a sub-agent using haiku, hopefully, and it's going to write a 1,000-word story. So I'm going to type and just say hello. Hopefully it replies back. It did say spawned. There we go. So even though it has a sub-agent running, it is not locked. It is not synchronous. That sub-agent is running asynchronously. Thus, we can still chat. So I can say, what's 2 plus 2? And the story's still happening in the background. And hopefully, it comes back when that sub-agent is done. What's the status of the sub-agent writing the story? Oops. Vibe AI assisting. Yeah, you can say I coined that one. Okay, there we go. So we got a long story here, 1,000-word story. Awesome. And there it is. Story's done. So I asked what's the status. It then finished the story while it was about to tell me what the status is. I don't know if it actually... Haiku did well with that one. 1,100 words, 39 seconds. Very cool. All right. I think you can end that poll, Brian, please. How many credits are you burning through? Acquisition capitalist. That's a good question. Let me... I'm going to try to pull it up without revealing any sensitive information, so give me one moment. So here's an interesting thing. Actually, let me pull this up first, and I'm going to tell you something interesting. Clawdbot AI. Okay. Okay, cool. This is safe to share. Here we are. So this is what I've done. This current session resets every 5 hours. Right now I have 50 minutes left. I've used 53% of it. It is not clear, and maybe there's more information about how it actually calculates what the percentage is, but it's like some combination of which model you're using, how much context you're using, if you're using caching or not, but it's not 100% clear. Mark Santos, please show us more use cases that I can't just do with Claude app, Claude code. Okay, will do. Interesting. The poll ended. 74% of you have not installed Clawdbot yet. That is out of 300 votes. We are so early. Is that the Claude Max plan? Yes, this is the $100 a month Claude Max plan. You also get weekly limits. Okay, so this resets Sunday. I've already used 18% of my weekly limit. So you get a sonnet only limit. And within a session, so within Clawdbot, you can tell it which model to use. So you could say, okay, now switch to sonnet for this chat. And so you can explicitly say it like that. And it actually has a good memory when you tell it to use a specific model within a chat. It remembers for a long time. But if you have a more sophisticated policy that you want it to implement, save in its memory, and then do that going forward, it struggles with that. All right, switch to Sonnet, running lighter now, already delivered above, the subagent finished while you were asking. Okay, so write a 100-word story. So now this is using Sonnet. Uh, 888U6N, who is doing the switching? Is that being done by Anthropic? No, it is being done by Clawdbot. Clawdbot is deciding which model to use at any given time. All right, so here it is. So this is all Sonnet. So I'm going to just use Sonnet for now. Sonnet is a fantastic model. I remember I said I was going to tell you about something really exciting I'm doing. Can you get the DJX for me? Would you mind? It's sitting right there. So we are going to, as I said, I have this beautiful computer, but it is quite weak. Thank you. Right? So it basically has a very low amount of VRAM on it. It's a MacBook, right? Very, very lightweight. But I want to be able to power Clawdbot with local models. And thus, that's where this baby comes in. Okay, can you see that? Yep. So this is a DGX Spark, and what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to set this up as a little home server. I'm going to put models on it, and I'm going to give my MacBook access to SSH into this. And so it's going to be able to do things like obviously run inference locally, but it's also going to be able to fine tune its own models. It even can do reinforcement learning on its own. I mean, there's so much possibility. And again, all of that is just through chat. I just want to make sure Clawdbot's still there because I did remove the power cord from my Mac. Yep, still there. Okay, good. Which models would you run on the DGX Spark? Faith, Naibi? Probably the same ones. Qwen 3, which is a phenomenal non-thinking model, and then GLM 4.7, which is a phenomenal thinking model. So depending on the use case, I'll switch between them. GPT OSS 120B on DGX Spark, possibly. Might do that. GLM 4.7 Flash fits on the Spark 2. Yep. All right. Let me know what use cases you guys want to see me do on Clawdbot, which is sitting in the bottom right corner of the screen right now. Okay, so back to here. That's basically the usage limit. That's how it works. So if I read a little bit about it, your usage is affected by several factors, including the length and complexity of your conversations. That's crazy. It's like, I wish they would give a specific, well-defined definition of like how are you actually calculating it? But it doesn't, unless I'm missing something. The features you use and which Claude model you're chatting with. Different subscription plans have different usage allowances. Ricola, can it do something with no model linked up? No. All of this is powered by an LLM, so you have to have some model powering it. Yes, Brian, thank you. Make sure to hit the like button on the stream. Send it to somebody if you think they'd be interested in learning more about Clawdbot. Thank you. How much does it cost per day? Ultion? It depends. It depends. Just like vibe coding. How much are you doing? How complex are you? How complex are you going? I mean, I'm trying to figure out exactly how they calculate it, but it's not obvious here. So I really just don't think there's an easy way to tell. I really dislike this. I really dislike the fact that Anthropic won't directly tell you how they do the calculation. To me, that means they're making dynamic adjustments all the time, which I don't like. I like clarity, I like transparency, and we do not have that here. All right, so there's that. Let's see. 183 pull requests on Clawdbot right now. Gosh, being Peter right now must be insane. He's getting hit up on DMs like crazy, I'm sure, tweets like crazy, PRs, issues, everything. DeepSeek provider. Let's see. All right. So what I'm looking at now are the suggested PR. So these are features either Peter directly made, but more likely, and what we're seeing here is everybody trying to contribute to this project. Allow stackable memories plugin. Interesting. Currently, memory plugins are mutually exclusive. Only one can be active at a time via plugins slots memory. This prevents users from combining memory core. Okay. Interesting. All right. Adds XAI provider to onboarding selection. So that's really cool. I already have my Grok account connected to Claude. And so it has really powerful search, meaning it can search X, it can find real-time information. I think that's a really cool thing to hook up if you have it. And then actually that just reminded me, I also have Brave search hooked up as well. So we have kind of traditional Google search or Brave search, and then we have more timely X search. So actually let's test that out. Show me the most popular recent X post related to Clawdbot. Keep in mind I'm streaming this chat right now. All right, there we go. So let's see what it does. Grok, G-R-O-Q, has the fastest GPT OSS inference, fast as F. Auth failed. Oof. If it reveals my API key right now, I'm gonna be quite upset. I'm gonna go get ready to revoke it. Interesting. So auth failed for some reason. Maybe because I haven't set it up on this new machine yet. That could be it. Maybe I should do that. Let me try that. Bear with me for a minute, everybody. No, I'm not going to be able to do it right now. That's okay. It probably doesn't have, let's see. Do you have access to Brave search? Yeah, so remember, this is all like on a new machine, and I guess I haven't logged into all the different services I wanted to use. Okay. Oh, look at that. Yeah, my heart stopped a little bit right there. Brave is rejecting it, might be invalid. Okay. AI engineer Yethu, where is the bot running? Is it CLI version? Mark Santos, I will answer that. Give me a sec. Where's the bot running? Yeah, it's running locally on my MacBook. It has access to Anthropic models. It basically just runs that MacBook. It is its own MacBook. It is living on this device right here. Clawdbot sitting on it. Made it a nice little home. In code, can you show some Alexa Plus or Home Assistant uses? I don't have that, so I can't really show it off. All right, Mark Santos. Please convince me this is worth my time. I think the short answer is if you want to stay on the forefront of artificial intelligence and you want to kind of just try out and see what everybody's talking about, then it is worth your time. Okay, so that's number one. But I think more importantly, why is it important? Why is everybody talking about it? And I think there's a bunch of different reasons. One, it's really cool. It's open source. It can run locally, and it feels like a true AI assistant. It is not Siri. It doesn't feel like it's trying so hard. And so you can connect it to all these different services that you want to use. You can give it web access. You can give it browser control access. Okay, so it has memory. There's a soul document. You can personalize how you want it to run. You can power it with any model that you want. It basically self-evolves too. So over the weekend, I had it download an open source model, connected it itself, all of this without having to refresh the terminal session. So it's just incredibly powerful. You can do cron jobs with it. You can tell it to look up information. You could tell it to give you a daily summary of your emails. It can help you with your emails. So it is really, really powerful. Now, with all of that said, there are still limitations. There are still plenty of rough edges. There are still security issues to be mindful of. So with all of that in mind, the reason you want to try it out is because this does feel like something new. It feels like something unique. And it's really exciting. Mark Santos, do I only use Clawdbot now? No. I'm still using ChatGPT. I'm still using Gemini. I'm still using Anthropic directly. There are reasons to use all of these different tools at different times, right? I find for any like health queries I have, I go to ChatGPT. Coding, I go to Claude. Web search and kind of access to my emails and stuff like that, I'm still going to Gemini sometimes. And I've only had Clawdbot for a few days, so I'm still trying to figure out where it really shines and where it falls short. So let's see what Brack said. Why Clawdbot is so hot? What's the difference? Self-hosted architecture, complete data privacy and control. No, it is not complete data privacy and control, but it is self-hosted. Technically, like if you really restrict it, you can have total data privacy, but I mean, you're using a large language model, you're using a non-deterministic system, so it's never going to be perfect.
I successfully took Brian off of CJ.
Oh, yeah. Okay. I'll tell a quick story about what happened this weekend so you all can avoid it. So Jonah from our Forward Future team set up Clawdbot. He was as excited as I was, so we got it all set up. And he put it in our Slack. And he gave it its own bot, its own handle, and exposed it in one of our Slack channels. And, of course, Brian, being the trickster he is, jumped in and immediately started messing with it. Told him to like book time on his calendar. Told him to only call him like Snookums or something. I forget what the name. Yes, like so just quite funny.
I had to revoke his privilege.
Yeah, so Jonah had to quickly revoke privileges of other people being able to instruct Clawdbot, his Clawdbot, of what to do. Yeah, and I think the really cool part, actually, Mark, going back to your question on why it's cool, is you can control it through any communication service that you want. And that's really powerful. And so I have it on my Telegram. It basically feels like I'm vibe coding with an AI assistant on my Telegram anywhere I want. So I have this thing running locally. I have my AI assistant running at home, always connected. I can always connect to it with Telegram, and that's extremely powerful. And so at any time I'm out and about, I'm doing stuff. If I think of something I need to get done, I can go ahead and just chat with it over Telegram. Hung323, can I set up Clawdbot in a Linux VM? Yeah, I think so. It's available on Linux. Yeah, you can. Jonah confirms, and if he's wrong, you know where to find him.
And lots of people are using WSL as well.
Mark Santos, thank you for the $2 donation, and you're welcome. Keep the questions coming. Reality2541, what about just putting it on a dual boot setup? Yes, you can absolutely do that as well. WSL. What's that called? You mentioned earlier the where you can like boot from multiple environments on your Mac. Parallels.
Yeah.
You can get it going on Parallels as well.
Which is like UTM.
Cool. All right, so let's see what else he says. Persistent memory. That is also very impressive, but it is limited, just like any memory system with AI currently is limited, in that there's a fixed context window. You have to shrink your memory because you can't fit it all in there. And when you shrink it, you're compacting it, you're compressing it, you lose fidelity, you lose information. The AI does its best to try to maintain the most details, but whenever you're compressing something, you're going to lose fidelity, and thus you might lose something that's important. And so persistent memory is really cool if you know how to use it. And so you can tell Clawdbot to remember anything. Even like the biggest piece of information, just remember it, write it down somewhere, and it's going to put it in a text file. It's going to put it in a JSON. And then you just need to know how to get it out of there. And so with tools, you can have it search through it, and it doesn't need to fit everything in its context window at all times. But context management, which is really what we're talking about, is still a very difficult problem. It is still one of the most important problems as somebody who uses LLMs all day, every day. Real automation capabilities, including browser control, email management, smart home integration, yes. In fact, we have CloudHub. CloudHub is, I believe, official. I think it's official. Yeah. But it basically lists out all the different skills that you can give your Clawdbot. All right, so let's look at the top ones. What would Elon do? I have not seen this, so I'm reading this for the first time. Transform my idea into a ruthless execution plan. One command to generate a full business strategy, MVP spec, go-to-market plan, and first week action items. Think bigger, move faster. Okay. Self-improving agent, that is something that I do use. Now, let me read it first, and then I'll tell you a little bit about it. This website is crazy slow. Isaac Herrera, hey, thank you very much for the $2. Can I use my Claude Max subscription? Yes, you can. Very good question. Please do not make the same mistake I did and set it up using an API key. I got charged $200 in about a day and a half. Use your Claude Max subscription. You do, I believe, it's like you have to generate a token from terminal. So log in to Claude Code like you usually would. Generate a token. I believe it's like Claude generate token or create token. There's some command.
There's also a skill that you can get
Oh my God. Okay, so Jonah says there's actually a skill to help set this up. Then you give access to Clawdbot to your Claude subscription. Now, the important thing, right? Ben Pilestick, I'm concerned Anthropic might ban this use. Yes, you are completely right to be concerned about that. They were revoking the ability to use Claude Code subscription in things like Cursor because they want you to use their own their own products. So they might do that. So just keep that in mind. But for now, I haven't had any problems. Where is the skill? Okay, let's keep looking. Let's go back to here. So self-improving agent captures learnings, errors, and corrections to enable continuous improvement. So a command or operation fails unexpectedly. User corrects Claude. User requests a capability that doesn't exist. An external API or tool fails. Claude realizes its knowledge is out of date. Okay. Then it saves it in a learnings file, which Clawdbot can reference at any time. Now, here's the important thing to note. Clawdbot comes with this functionality out of the box. I don't know which one's better, the native functionality or specifically self-improving agent. I have self-improving agent running, so I'm doing them both, and I'm just going to see which one's better. Maybe running them at the same time is not the right move. Ari Gold, is there a working Mac OS app? Yes. Yes, there is. It is in beta, but there is a working Mac OS app. In fact, let's just see what it says. So for those of you who joined the stream recently, I have my own Clawdbot set up in Telegram. That's what you're seeing here. And, oh, it says it doesn't. Okay. So obviously that's wrong. The reason is because I don't have web access set up and I don't have browser control set up for this bot yet. And I also don't have Grok access, so it doesn't know. But there is one. So let me actually just show you. Let's see. Here we go. So if you go to Clawd.bot, quick start, and then click this little Mac OS icon, you can download it right here. And it is a very easy way to get all of this set up and manage it very easily. Okay, so actually, let me go back to the skills. This website is super slow. Okay. Yeah, probably because everybody's using it. So GOG, probably one of the most important skills it can learn, and basically it gives Clawdbot access to your workspace, Google Workspace. That's Gmail, Calendar, Drive, Contact Sheets, and Docs. I had one of the coolest use cases using the GOG skill. That is, I have a hard drive right next to me that has a backup of every video I've ever made, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of them. And it's like terabytes of information. I wanted to upload that to Google Drive, and I started doing it, and then it failed halfway through. And so I had some of the videos live on Drive, and I had all of them locally. And I didn't really know how to compare and see like, okay, which ones did I actually upload? Which ones did I not? And Google Drive doesn't have the ability to say, okay, if it already exists, skip it. It only does overwrite, which is crazy. And so I would have to upload everything again and again. So I had Clawdbot write me code or just handle it. And it basically went into my Google Drive account. It did the comparison. Okay, what's available there? And then what do I have locally? Made that comparison, made a list and then was able to upload it. And I just had it batch uploading 10 files at a time. It would spin off a sub agent. And yeah, it worked incredibly well. It would update the document that I had locally. Really, really cool use case. Okay, so there's that. Self-improving agent, remind me, sets reminders using natural language. I don't really know why you would need this because that is natively built in. Agent browser, a fast Rust-based headless browser automation CLI with Node.js fallback. Okay, cool. So yeah, Bird, if you want to, which is super dangerous, give Claude access to your X account. It is done through cookies though. So yeah, super dangerous.
The other one that's really powerful is the 11 Labs agent, so you can give Clawdbot voice.
So Jonah is saying the 11 Labs agent is very powerful, so you can give Claude a voice. Brabus, thank you for the $2. Gumroad has a Clawdbot Docker cheat sheet, by the way. Very cool. Arf, arf. Yes, Brian, that is not the dog in the room. That is another dog. Summarize. Let's see. Jacob X Crow, thank you for the $10. Thank you so much. So does this randomly check in on you? Like if I complete a list of tasks, will it just autonomously check in on me proactively to see if I need help with anything without me having to prompt it? Yes, and there's two ways. I think you could probably like create hooks. So like, let's say you're using Todoist, a to-do app. When you check something off a list, maybe there's a way to create a hook where it actually notifies you or notifies Clawdbot, which then pings you. The real way is through, or kind of the easier way is through polling. And so you can say, hey, check every 10 minutes for items on my task list that were completed. And so you could set it up like that as well. And so in that sense, it will check in on you. And then also just setting up scheduled jobs, cron jobs. You can do that pretty darn easily. So let me show you how easy it is actually to install a skill. So please install the summarize skill from Claude Hub. Let's see if it could do it. Because this isn't the full Clawdbot, but let's see. Okay. Jacob X Crow, thank you so much for the $5. Good. I am shocked OpenAI hasn't figured this out yet. People want a proactive AI. I have severe ADHD. I cannot remember to remember. Yeah, man. I think OpenAI did figure it out. They had scheduled tasks, but it just, all of the frontier labs are more risk averse than what an open source project could be, right? And so they don't connect to every single service. They don't run locally on your machine and have access to everything you do on your machine. So I think it's like, now that they're seeing how popular Clawdbot is, 100% they're going to roll out their own version of it. All right, and look at that. Installed. Copied the summarized skill from the global skills directory to your workspace. Claude Hub CLI had a dependency issue, so I grabbed it directly from the built-in skills. It's now ready to use. Let's give it a try. Okay, so I'm going to say summarize this web page, and this is the creator of Clawdbot's LinkedIn page. So let's see how it does. Okay. YouTube watcher. Okay, here we go. There it is. Look at that. So fast. Peter Steinberger, current founder leader at Amantis. great. Background, great. Currently working on next-gen AI products. For full details, you'd need to view while logged in or connect with him directly. Yep. Okay. So we can install Brave Search, but I would need the API key. Let's see if I could do that. No, I would have to type the API key into the chat, and of course I'm not going to do that. Okay. Perplexity, that's cool. OpenAI Whisper, so local text, speech to text, very cool. Okay, so here's another thing. This is amazing, but the interaction layer with it is through text, through Telegram, WhatsApp, Slack. It's all text, and yes, you can have a voice memo to it, and yes, you can even get it to send you a voice memo back. But ultimately, what I envision is this, right? What we really want is something where I can wear it during the day and I can just chat with my AI assistant. And I think that's what I'm especially excited about from, maybe Apple will get their stuff in order. Thanks. Maybe OpenAI's new hardware device that they're making with Johnny Ive might be it. But it's like, I want an always-on device that I can just chat with that has connectivity to my local machine, knows everything about me, and I can just chat with and have it do things for me and chat back with me. That's the ultimate, that is like the ultimate use case for me. Jonah just handed me this. I don't know if y'all can see this. So Limitless, this is a Limitless pendant, AI pendant. Okay. Let's see if I can show this a little better. There we go. Limitless AI pendant. Jonah's testing it out right now. Limitless was just acquired by Meta, but I bought this right before they were acquired, or actually they shipped it to me right before they were acquired, I should say. And this is like kind of what I'm thinking. Like if I could wear this around my neck and just chat with it, and it records things around me, and it records that down to my local computer, has vision, has audio, has voice. I mean, that's really when it becomes super powered. And so what Jonah was able to do is, maybe you want to come talk about it?
Okay.
Yeah. Jonah will tell you what he did quickly with this pendant.
Can you see me?
Yeah.
Hi. So basically Limitless, even though they're owned by Meta and you can't buy them anymore, you can still make accounts, and there's an API. So I gave Clawdbot the API, and it created a Limitless skill. And now whenever I have this around my neck, I can ask Clawdbot or interact with Clawdbot, and has access to all of the Limitless information, knowing everything I've talked about, everything I've seen, every conversation, every phone call, every chat with Matt.
No privacy concerns whatsoever.
No privacy concerns, but it all goes straight into my Clawdbot, basically for me to use as data for anything else that I'm doing throughout my day.
Awesome. Thanks.
Yeah.
Cool. Is it like an AI pen? It is an AI pen, yes. Limitless AI. Yeah. Can it keep an eye on your heart rate or AFib? That's Jacob X Crow. I mean, now you're really thinking, right?
So API is next.
Right. So like you can think the Aura Ring, you can think the Apple Watch, you can connect it to your Apple Health data. I mean, that is why I still think Apple is in an incredible position to win artificial intelligence, even though they cannot get their ducks in a row. They can't get out of their own way. But you all of your life is on an Apple device if you live inside the Apple ecosystem. So the fact that it has access to all of that, the fact that they have so much power to run models locally given their own custom silicon, I really think there's something to that. And Apple has, it's Apple's game to lose. And so far they have been losing. All right. I am going to be right back. Give me about 2 minutes. All right, we're back. We are back. Yeah. Okay. I kind of wish I gave more skills to Clawdbot before starting the stream. But that's what next time's for. All right. So we talked about Claude Hub. So definitely check out Claude Hub. And now I want to talk about more reactions. Okay. Unexpected use case for Clawdbot on Polymarket. I do not recommend. Let me just say this like really clearly. I do not recommend giving any budget to your Clawdbot. Please don't. Please don't give it access to your Robinhood account. Please don't give it access to your crypto wallet. Please don't give it access to anything like that. That is a silly idea, and you will be in pain from that. But now that I said that, someone plugged Clawdbot into Polymarket with $100 and let it trade 15-minute BTC up and down markets overnight and woke up with $347. We need to do that, don't we? Wait a second. Just to be clear, you don't do that. We will do that, and we'll report back to you, okay? Trades fully automated, scans X sentiment plus news flow, reacts to volatility in real time, compounds small wins fast, logs and reviews every decision. If this is even half repeatable, automation is a real edge here. It is not repeatable. It is a fun little silly project. Now, here's the thing. Here's the thing that it's not saying. It spent $100 to make $347, and it had $900 in Claude bills. I just made that up, but that is like a big missing piece of this information here. Yeah. Gave Clawdbot my API key for Polymarket. Absolutely. Let's do this, Jonah. All right, we're gonna make a video from this. We'll do it together. So you have control of a $100 wallet on Polymarket. Your objective: trade 15-minute Bitcoin up-down markets and maximize profit over the next 24 hours. Trade conservatively, manage risk tightly, and protect capital at all costs. Assume this is your last $100. Trade as if your life depends on the result. Jacob X Crow, will I live stream it? Yeah, absolutely. I kind of wish I could just get it right now and start streaming it. Can you set it up? Yeah, please set it up. Let's do it. All right, we're going to try to get it going. I can't make any promises, but if you want to see that, let me know in the comments. Let me know in chat. Like the stream, please. Move your chat over to the right. Okay, yeah, thanks, Brian. There we go. Okay, we're going to try to do this, everybody. So bear with me. I am definitely not going to regret this. Okay. When I opened Polymarket, I saw a $347 on the balance, made $247 overnight. Tell me you list how much you spent. Of course, they give their referral code right there. I don't see it. So yeah, that's a big missing piece, because I can imagine that would get very expensive. I think like the way we could do it is have one of the less expensive fast models like Haiku write the code and go scrape X. And then for the actual kind of high level sentiment analysis, use Opus 4.5. Okay. Let's look what else there is, as Jonah's trying to figure out if we can make this work or not.
Figure out if I can get my Polymarket
Yeah, and by the way, we're going to be using his Polymarket account, so that just makes it extra fun because I do not have a Polymarket account. How much should we make Jonah spend in his Polymarket account and give it to Clawdbot? Let me know in the comments. All right, we got 200. We have 250. Brian says 100. He's trying to do you a favor. 1,000, $100 with max leverage. Keep in mind, Brian is the one who tried to mess with your Clawdbot, so he's. I think he learned his lesson. $1 million, yeah. All right, let's see. So Alex Finn, I've been following on X for a while. He's been talking about Clawdbot a ton, almost exclusively. Here's a new use case that we haven't talked about. Just to see what would happen, I texted Henry, my Clawdbot. Henry is his Clawdbot's name, to make a reservation for me next Saturday at a restaurant. When the open table res didn't work, it used 11 Labs skill to call the restaurant and complete the reservation. 11 Labs. Oh my goodness. That is so cool. AGI is here and 99% of people have no clue. Nice hypey finish line on that post. Here it is. Can you make a reservation for me in Los Altos, California, next Saturday, January 21st? Okay. I need one thing. How many people? Great. They're on open table. Just tell me how many people. Okay. I can't book directly. Okay. Open the booking link, or do you want me to just call them? Let's see if there's a second post here. He didn't actually post the follow-up so you can see the call, but I guess the call happened separately. Very cool. Very cool. I need to give it access to X. I need to give it access to a whole bunch of things that it's not going to have access to in this moment. Okay, we're going to do this.
Mine's set up with the X API, not Grok.
Dang, I use Grok. Okay. All right, I'm going to take Clawdbot off screen and give it some new skills. All right, we're doing this. I think I have to log in from this computer though, right? All right, so bear with us. We're going to try to do this. See if I can actually log in. All right. Okay, I am logged into X on this computer. God, this is so risky. What are we doing? Okay, now okay, so now I am, you can't see it for obvious reasons, but I'm authenticating into X, or I should say Grok, through my Clawdbot. So we have an XAI API key. Oh, John Kirker, thank you for the 20. Add this. Jonah, he just donated $20 to your Polymarket risk surface. Thank you, John. Much appreciated. Okay. So we have an XAI key. It's already there, but failed. Let's test if it works now. I might have to get a new API key for some reason. And then I think I need Brave access, right? I'll give it web searchability, so I'm going to set that up now. Forgive me. I know you cannot see what I'm doing, and yes, there is a reason for that. API key works, but X search seems to be slow, unresponsive. Okay. Oh, Greg PDX, another 20. Do it. Okay. This is all going towards Clawdbot trading on Polymarket. Thank you very much. Much appreciated. Yeah. All right. This is going to be cool. We're working on it, everybody. We're working on it. Chat loves gambling. Yes. Yeah. Who doesn't? Okay. An email has been sent to you. Let's see if I can find that. Yep, there it is. Incorrect code. Come on. Let's try this again. Jacob Crow, thank you again. Another $5. Tell Clawdbot to train neural networks, 1,000 parameters, whatever it needs to learn, like a pseudo adapter. Yeah, we're going to do that. So right now, it's connected to, or it's living on my MacBook, but we are going to work on setting it up on the DJX Spark. And once we do that, we can do all of that kind of cool stuff with it. Just saw that OpenAI is going to have a town hall meeting later today with Sam Altman. Yes, I was actually invited to that, but decided I wanted to talk about Clawdbot more. I really probably should have gone to that, shouldn't I have? All right. What are you going to do? Sorry, Sam. All right, let's try this code. So everybody who is joining, we're just trying to get Clawdbot connected to Polymarket. There we go. Okay. And right now I'm giving it Brave access keys. Key is invalid. Okay. Let's make another one. Okay, so I'm working on it. Sorry, everybody. All right, we now have access to Brave. Now I'm just waiting for it to delete the Telegram message where I gave it. Nope, you did not. So I'm going to delete it manually. Okay. So now it has access to Brave. It has access to Grok. Let's say I'll just test it. Do a Grok search for Clawdbot. All right. So I'm just going to test doing a Grok search. I can share this again for the time being. Let me just show you what this looks like. There we go. Okay, so Clawdbot is back. Now has access to Grok, G-R-O-K Grok, and Brave browser. Slower than regular chat. Grok X searches processing. Timed out after 20. Huh. That's interesting. I wonder why it's timing out. Maybe I need to get... I haven't been using it that much, though.
It often just fails a bunch of times.
Interesting. Is there a better way of doing this? You said you... What?
But still, you run into rate limit.
XAI directly?
Yeah, that's what I've been doing.
Okay. All right. Well, you know what? It was able to find some stuff with Brave. Okay. So how I need to, I really do need to give it access to X for sentiment analysis, right?
And then we can also download one of the already existing Polymarket auto traders and have it like adapt that with your APIs and the Polymarket key.
You might have to walk me through that one. All right, let me, I really do want to give it access.
You want me to try setting it up on mine first?
Well, I want to give it access to XAI. I didn't even think X had an API.
We pay for it for analytics. It'll be a second to set up. It's really annoying.
All right. Cool. Okay. All right, let's try that. Grok 4.1 fast. We can give it API access to 2 million token context window. Oh, there's an outage right now. That's why it's not working. Yeah, Grok is down. Grok iOS, Grok and X, Grok Android, Grok Web. Boy, that would be nice. Let me show that off. docs.x.ai/models. This is where I was looking. And there it is. We have an outage. Can everybody see that? No? No. Why isn't that showing? It's a pop-up. Interesting. Yeah, there's an outage. Oh, there we go. Yeah, there is definitely an outage right now. Well, hopefully it gets fixed quickly, because then we're going to go hard on Polymarket. All right, what do I need to do to get it set up in Polymarket now?
We need to attach...
Just send me your API key. I'll not show it.
I almost did that in Slack, and I was like, what am I doing?
Slack isn't showing in the stream, so I think it's all right.
Maybe I should just do it here, and then I'll share the skill with you.
How does that work?
So I will set up my XAI API,
Uh-huh.
my Grok API, my Brave and Firecrawl API, and then give it my Polymarket API, and give it like a couple of the repos, for example, Polymarket.
But how will I connect to yours?
I can just give you the skill that Clawdbot creates, and you just download it and put it in your Clawdbot.
Okay.
And then I have to...
We'll give it a try.
Give you the API keys or tell it to give those to me also.
Okay. Yes, you can have it work from a local LLM. Yes, you can. Yeah. So the way I was doing that previously was I had, and that's from LMGG5ZH, I had LM Studio working and downloaded Quen and GLM 4.7. All right. You could see everybody's talking about Clawdbot. Um, all right. Peter just posted this. So this is the creator of Clawdbot. Look at the search terms over time. Clawdbot has taken over Claude Code. I mean, obviously, it's the new thing. It's not super surprising. We have Dave Shapiro, Clawdbot attacks. Riley Brown prediction: Clawdbot hype dies down in 3 weeks, but then returns with a vengeance in June to August when use cases become clear, models become better, easier integrations, skill configurations, more packaged, etc. I think because of all the interest in it now and the fact that it's open source, everybody's going to be contributing to it. It's going to be extended like crazy. So I think it's going to be sooner than that. Someone's trying to brute force my Clawdbot server right now. So this is one of those issues with having it in the cloud. 30 failed login attempts, 10 minutes, 3 different IPs with the hype. Let's see. Yeah, here we go. Yep. Command. Yep. Ooh, Dario just... I know all we want to do is talk about Clawdbot, but Dario, founder of Anthropic, just dropped a new essay. I kind of want to read it. Who wants to read this? I'll give you my thoughts live. All right, I'll do a quick intro just in case we decide to clip or cut this into a video later. All right, read it. All right, so by the way, Jonah's working on the Polymarket thing, so we're going to take a quick side tour.
I just want to point out, my Mac Mini at home is working on it, and I'm commanding it through CJ and Slack.
That's awesome. So Jonah has his Clawdbot installed on his Mac Mini at home, and he is controlling it through Slack on the MacBook Air, MacBook Pro that he brought here. All right. Let's read it together. Oh, I'm so glad he referenced Contact, which is one of my favorite sci-fi movies of all time. There's a scene in the movie version of Carl Sagan's book Contact where the main character, an astronomer who has detected the first radio signal from an alien civilization, is being considered for the role of humanity's representative to meet the aliens. The international panel interviewing her asks, if you could ask the aliens just one question, what would it be? And her reply is, I'd ask them, how did you do it? How did you evolve? How did you survive this technological adolescence without destroying yourself? This is the second time in like a week that I've heard this. In fact, I think it was Dario who was talking about this at Davos. He just talked about this. So Dario and Demis, both of their favorite sci-fi movies are Contact. Actually, let me take a step back and I'll just do a quick intro for this. Dario Amodei, the founder and CEO of Anthropic, has dropped a new essay all about the adolescence of technology, basically the state of artificial intelligence as it is today and how we need to get ahead of it. And so that's what we're going to go through right now. All right. So when I think about where humanity is now with AI and, excuse me, about what we're on the cusp of, my mind keeps going back to that scene because the question is so apt for our current situation, and I wish we had the aliens' answer to guide us. And so it was really interesting. So in the movie, like what he's referencing here see. All right, just one question. He asked three, yeah. She asked three. All right, so what he's referencing here is that in the movie, I forget the main character's name. Do you remember the main character's name in that movie?
No.
Character in Contact.
Helen Hunt.
Dr. Eleanor. Right. Okay. Ellie. That's right. Ellie. Thank you. Thank you, Warchild 777. Okay. So we have Ellie, who's being considered to be the representative. And I'll give a quick kind of overview of the movie Contact. Basically, all of a sudden, we got these alien radio signals and we started decoding them, and it ends up being a machine. And I'm not going to reveal anything or spoil anything, but fantastic movie if you haven't seen it. It ends up being a machine. The machine does something. And so, I guess in this premise, I kind of already, or he spoiled this, there's some kind of interaction that happens eventually. And this machine allows interaction between humans and aliens. And so thus, if they're able to do that, the council asks Ellie, what questions would you ask of these aliens? And her reply, how did you do it? How did you evolve? How did you survive this technological adolescence without destroying yourself? So before a civilization becomes technologically sophisticated enough, when they're just discovering these things, fire, the wheel, eventually artificial intelligence, how do you not destroy yourself with it before you understand it enough? And so that is what he's referencing. And I think that's what he's saying. We're kind of the point in history we're in right now. We are creating this new life form right now. And so how do we not destroy ourselves in the process before we have the chance to fully understand it, put guardrails around it? And so I think that's what the crux of this essay is about. I believe we are entering a rite of passage, both turbulent and inevitable, which will test who we are as a species. Humanity is about to be handed an almost unimaginable power, and it is deeply unclear whether our social, political, and technological systems possess the maturity to wield it. By the way, let's pause for a second and talk about Anthropic and their culture. I made a video about this, but I want to repeat some of it. One, Anthropic seems to be doing something unique and something special. Okay? While all other frontier labs have had drama in the form of employees leaving, founders leaving, founders returning, Anthropic has not. They have quietly been plugging away on their mission. And I believe their mission is what drives the culture, and the culture is what keeps the best people. And so they have an incredible culture. They are hyper-focused on safety. Whatever you believe about their approach, they are hyper-focused on safety. They believe we are creating a new form of life right now. Okay? So with all of that's kind of all coming from Dario, top down. He is the one. And he writes these essays talking about it. And so they are also hyper-focused. Excuse me, let me repeat that. They are also hyper-focused on one use case, and it seems to be coding. Their models, the Claude family of models, are exceptional at coding, best in class at coding, and that is because they believe coding is the language of AGI. And I believe that as well. If you, there was an essay by Mark Andreessen about 15 years ago called Software is Eating the World. And in this essay, and in fact, let me pull it up. August 20th, 2011, Software is Eating the World. This is an essay by Mark Andreessen, who is a famed venture capitalist. He also he was the co-founder of Netscape, if I remember correctly. So very prominent through the creation of the internet. And so he wrote this essay about how software is eating the world. Anything that could be automated with software will be automated with software. All right? So keep that in mind. But then we come, let me go back to Dario. Then we come to Dario. And what I believe and what a lot of people believe and what Dario and Anthropic believe is that AI is eating software. And through the transitive property, if AI is eating software and software is eating the world, AI is eating the world. Okay, so that's kind of the logic that they're using of why they're so focused on code. Code is the ultimate use case. Code also happens to be the thing that AI does better than pretty much anything else because you have a verifiable reward. You can run code, you can see if it works. If it doesn't work, you can get the error and you can train the model to get better. And it can continue to play with itself until it fixes that code or learns from whatever the issue was. And so that is kind of the high level of why code is so important. So Dario and Anthropic decided to focus on code, and here we are. And so back to what I was talking about. They have an incredible culture, hyper-focused, right? They're not building a million different products. They don't have consumer products. I mean, they do, but they're really just focused on code as an API endpoint. And so that's what I think the focus, the culture, the kind of unique way they think about artificial intelligence is all what makes their culture special, is all what keeps people there, keeps them heads down, building towards their mission. All right, so let's go back to the essay. In my essay, Machines of Loving Grace, I tried to lay out the dream of a civilization that had made it through to adulthood, where the risks had been addressed and powerful AI was applied with skill and compassion to raise the quality of life for everyone.
What? I might have already made a trade.
All right, and quick update. Jonah's still working on Polymarket. Maybe he already made a trade accidentally. We're still working on that. For those of you new here, we're connecting Clawdbot to Polymarket, and we're going to try to let it trade for us, which I do not recommend any of you do. But we'll do it for science. Okay. I suggested that AI could contribute to enormous advances in biology, neuroscience, economic development, global peace, and work and meaning. In this current essay, I'm not going to read it line for line. In this current essay, I want to confront the rite of passage itself, to map out the risks that we are about to face and try to begin making a battle plan to defeat them. He is bullish. I believe deeply in our ability to prevail, in humanity's spirit and its nobility, but we must face the situation squarely and without illusions. Okay? So, first, he suggests avoiding doomerism. And I'm glad to hear that. I tend to be an optimist. I would be very depressed if I weren't, but I like being an optimist. I like thinking things are going to just work out and we're going to solve it. Okay, that's just who I am. So I appreciate Dario, who is so focused on safety, who is so focused on guardrails and AI as a sentient being, also being positive. Because if you just looked at how they're building things, how they're communicating what they're building, you would think he maybe is negative and pessimistic about the future, but he is not. Doomerism, not just in the sense of believing doom is inevitable, which is both false and self-fulfilling belief. I love that. Okay. But more generally, thinking about AI risks in a quasi-religious way. My impression is that during the peak of worries of AI risks, 2023 to 2024, some of the least sensible voices rose to the top. Gary Marcus, often through sensationalistic social media accounts. Maybe not just Gary Marcus. Drop in chat who you think the biggest doomers are, by the way. There's a ton of construction going on outside. Can anybody hear that? Hopefully not. Barely. Okay. All right. So we'll just keep powering through. All right. Thanks. These voices used off-putting language reminiscent of religion or science fiction and called for extreme actions without having the evidence that would justify them. It was clear then that the backlash was inevitable. And actually, while this is working, I'm going to have Clawdbot do its own summary. Now, as of 2025-2026, the pendulum has swung, and AI opportunity, not AI risk, is driving many political decisions. This vacillation is unfortunate, as the technology itself doesn't care about what is fashionable, and we are considerably closer to real danger in 2026 than we were in 2023. Whoa! We are considerably closer to real danger in 2026 than we were in 2023. And here is Clawdbot's summary of that. We will come back to that. We need to discuss and address risks in a realistic, pragmatic manner, sober, fact-based, and well-equipped. Okay. Next, we need to acknowledge uncertainty, which there is quite a bit of. This is a brand new technology. We have no idea what's coming. We have no idea what bottlenecks are there. I don't even think, actually, I know, even AI leaders don't know if the transformer architecture alone is enough to get us to that next level. If we should even be afraid of large language models. Maybe it's world models. Maybe it's some other model or technique or architecture that we haven't even thought of. There are plenty of ways in which the concerns I'm raising in this piece could be moot. Nothing here is intended to communicate certainty or even likelihood. AI may simply not advance anywhere near as fast as I imagine. Yes, so that's what I just said. Or if it does advance quickly, some or all of the risks discussed here may not materialize, which would be great. Or there may be other risks I haven't considered. You don't know what you don't know. The unknown unknowns. That's what he's referring to. We have no clue. Anything could happen or anything could not happen. We don't know. So that is the thing I'm definitely most fearful of, is just the fact that it's brand new and we just don't know. No one can predict the future with complete confidence. All right. Next, intervene as surgically as possible. I hope he's talking about regulation here, because I think Anthropic has been known to be very pro-regulation, and some would say they are leveraging regulatory capture. In fact, when I say some, I'm specifically meaning David Sachs. Okay, so let's look that up. Let's see if we can get Clawdbot to do it. I don't even know what tool it's going to use to do this. All right. Oh, yeah. Can everybody see this? Oh, no, I'm not sharing it. Apologies. Hold on. Okay, there's Clawdbot back. Sorry about that. Okay, so I had it find David Sachs' tweet calling Anthropic out about regulatory capture. Found it. Anthropic is running a sophisticated regulatory capture strategy based on fear-mongering. It is principally responsible for the state regulatory frenzy that is damaging the startup ecosystem. There is also a follow-up in which he claims Anthropic hired senior Biden AI staffers to lobby for Biden's AI agenda. Anthropic fired 2 law firms for reaching settlements with the Trump administration. Anthropic is leading the fomenter of state AI regulation. Is the leading fomenter, sorry. This is the tweet that apparently made Anthropic. Okay, so that's fine. Okay, so we got the tweet. Awesome, by the way. Thank you, Clawdbot. I think Clawdbot is going to become a fixture in these streams now. It is just so helpful. And yes, I think a lot of you are probably thinking, yeah, you could probably do that with ChatGPT or Anthropic directly. And yes, I could. But you know what? Clawdbot is cool. So we're using it. Okay. Back to the essay. So I hope where he's going with this is talking about surgical regulation. If we have broad regulation, it's going to stymie our ability to innovate, and China will win. It's as simple as that. You can be apolitical, but that is a fact. When you have adversary countries, adversary nations competing on something, there's no way to pause. There's no way to overregulate without the adversary getting ahead. Okay. So addressing the risks of AI will require a mix of voluntary actions taken by companies and private third-party actors, and actions taken by government that bind everyone. The voluntary actions, both taking them and encouraging other companies to follow suit, are a no-brainer for me. I don't know how you do that. When you have private companies and they are only responsible for delivering shareholder value, right? So if they are an S Corp, a C Corp, they are responsible for delivering shareholder value if they're a public company, and even private companies. And so I don't really know how you enforce that. Because one of them is going to say, okay, well, you're slowing down or you're doing something, you're putting guardrails, and I won't, and I'm going to go full speed ahead. Okay? But these interventions are different in character because they can potentially destroy economic value or coerce unwilling actors who are skeptical of these risks, and there is some chance they are right. Okay? That's the important part. Potentially destroy economic value. And if one company is destroying economic value or one country is destroying economic value, another company or another country will capture it. That is human nature. It's also common for regulations to backfire or worsen the problem they are intended to solve. This is very true. An example, the Biden administration wanted to implement, and I think actually California, maybe it was California. I got to double check that. Let me see. So let's ask Clawdbot. Was it California or the U.S. Biden admin who so let's see. Was it California or the US Biden admin who proposed AI regulation based on the power of a GPU or the size of a model? I remember something like this. If you guys remember, let me know in the comments. Let me know in chat, please. So here we go. Both proposed compute-based thresholds. So Biden executive order 10 to the 26 flops threshold for dual use foundation models. California SB 1047 vetoed by Newsom. Right. Okay. So here's the problem with having a very fixed limit, right? $100 million training cost, 10 to the 26 flops. These are ridiculous because the technology changes. It's way too early to know what the true limiting factors are of evolving the technology, making AI better. So models got smaller. DeepSeek came out. You can all of a sudden train models for incredibly inexpensively. The GPUs are getting better, getting more efficient. And so like putting this hard limit on it, maybe the architecture completely changes. And all of a sudden it's not about maximizing flops. It probably is, but let's just assume like maybe the architecture completely changes and it's something else. Then all of a sudden this policy is really just hamstringing a certain set of the AI competition out there. So it's meaningless. It's thus very important for regulations to be judicious. Oh my God, that's a hard word. Judicious. They should seek to avoid collateral damage, be as simple as possible, and impose the least burden necessary to get the job done. It is also very important not to have overregulation because we want startups to thrive. We want small businesses to thrive. And if we have regulatory capture, if we have overregulation, then only the biggest companies in the world, the companies that have billions of dollars to invest and teams of lawyers, and those are the only companies that are going to be able to succeed and innovate, and they're going to stop because that's what big companies do eventually. And so we need startups to disrupt, but we can't have a startup that is required to hire a dozen lawyers, spend millions of dollars trying to figure out some crazy regulatory patchwork. So it would really harm small companies, small businesses. So it is easy to say no action is too extreme when the fate of humanity is at stake. But in practice, the attitude is simply, but in practice, this attitude simply leads to backlash. I think there's a decent chance we eventually reach a point where much more significant action is warranted, but that will depend on stronger evidence of imminent, concrete danger than we have today. So he's saying we should not impose drastic regulation quite yet. Wow, this is a long essay. Okay, we're going to try to get through it all. I think I'm going to end the stream after that. All right, with all that said, I think the best starting place for talking about AI risks is the same place I started from in talking about its benefits, being precise. The level of AI that raises civilizational concerns for me is the powerful AI that I described in Machines of Love and Grace. And here's the definition. In terms of pure intelligence, smarter than a Nobel Prize winner across most relevant fields, can prove unsolved mathematical theorems. Seems like we're close to that. Write extremely good novels, write difficult code bases from scratch, etc. Seems like we're quite close to that. In addition to just being a smart thing you talk to, it has all the interfaces available to a human working virtually, including text, audio, video, mouse, keyboard control, and internet access. Boy, it sounds like he is describing Clawdbot right now. He could really just be describing any sophisticated AI system right now. So it does seem like we're close on those first 2 bullet points. Tell me in chat if you disagree. It does not just passively answer questions. It can be given tasks that take hours, days, weeks to complete. We are very close to that. Certainly hours, definitely days, maybe not weeks yet. And then goes off and does those tasks autonomously. Yeah, we're there. Minus weeks, we're there. It does not have physical embodiment, but it can control existing physical tools. Interesting that he says that as a definition of powerful AI, because in my mind, the most powerful AI will be embodied. It will be a robot. It will be able to affect the physical world. It will be able to affect atoms, not just bits. Ali Kahan, I am reading Dario's brand new essay that was just published about existential risk with artificial intelligence. So for those of you who just joined, this is Dario's brand new, newly published essay, darioamadei.com. You're welcome. Fozoth bots, I disagree on days. Meter shows, METR meter shows that the best models can only go for 4 hours at most, but with 50% success rate. Maybe I've seen, who was it? Cursor, the team at Cursor built, what did they build? Like an entire operating system? No, an entire browser from scratch. They put Cursor on the task of autonomously building an operating system. No, they autonomously building a browser from scratch, including the rendering engine, completely from scratch. It wasn't perfect, but it worked for over a week successfully. Okay, and it delivered a browser. So it could definitely do that. Varun Pod, doesn't agent harnesses change that limitation? Yes. Scaffolding is all you need. I've said that for a while. Scaffolding is all you need. The models, the raw intelligence of the models are incredible already. And so when you wrap better scaffolding, better management, better memory management, better context management, you get better overall results. But it does say it could control physical tools, robots, or laboratory equipment through a computer. In theory, it could even design robots or equipment for itself to use. I don't really understand this definition, because why wouldn't you just put the AI directly on the robot? But maybe that's just a nuance. The resources used to train the model can be repurposed to run millions of instances of it. This matches projected cluster sizes by 2027. And the model can absorb information and generate actions at roughly 10 to 100 times human speed. All of this, check, check, check. We are there. We are there. It may, however, be limited by the response time of the physical world or of software it interacts with. One thing it is definitely limited by is electricity. Even if AI became sentient today, I don't believe we have enough electricity generation to actually power AGI. Maybe not AGI, sentient AI. If it was going to become all powerful, I don't think we have the energy to do that. And it can't control atoms at the rate it needs to build new energy infrastructure. All right, so just keep that in mind. Mr. Sujay, are you running Clawdbot on container? I have a brand new isolated MacBook that I put it on. That's where it is. Each of these millions of copies, and by the way, yes, we can absolutely do this. We can absolutely have millions of agents running right now. There's nothing preventing it. We are there. So every single one of these definitions, we can do that. We could summarize this as a country of geniuses in a data center. As I wrote, so that is his definition of powerful AI. As I wrote in Machines of Loving Grace, powerful AI could be as little as 1 to 2 years away. He also said, and he's been a little bit aggressive with his timelines, that AI is going to write all code for us, solve coding within 6 months. Okay? And remember, coding is the language of AGI. So if we solve coding, we solve AGI. Although it could be considerably further out. Okay? My co-founders at Anthropic and I were among the first to document and track the scaling laws of AI systems, Flex. The observation that as we add more compute and training tasks, AI systems get predictably better at essentially every cognitive skill we are able to measure. Every few months, public sentiment either becomes convinced that AI is hitting a wall or becomes excited about some new breakthrough, Clawdbot, that will fundamentally change the game, Clawdbot. But the truth is that behind the volatility and public speculation, there has been a smooth, unyielding increase in AI's cognitive capabilities. Okay. We are now at the point where AI models are beginning to make progress in solving unsolved mathematical problems. Case in point, Jonah, what was that? The math problem that OpenAI just solved? That's right. Thank you. Okay. Actually, you know what? Tell me about... Okay, so I'm going to have my little Clawdy go get it. Tell me some information. All right. So, thanks, Clawdbot. GPT 5.2 Pro recently solved ERDOS problem 728 and 729 and 397. The first time an LLM has autonomously solved one of these problems. And humans hadn't previously solved them. I believe those were not open problems, though. It was verified by Fields medalist Terence Tao, the Michael Jordan of mathematics. They used the tool Aristotle, and we had the founder of Aristotle on our show, Forward Future Live, about a week ago, to formalize the proofs. And yeah, very, very impressive. All right. Okay. Right. So that is what he's referring to, solving unsolved mathematical problems, and are good enough at coding that some of the strongest engineers I've ever met are now handing over almost all of their coding to AI. This is something else that we've been talking about on this channel quite a bit. We have some of the biggest, we have some of the most prominent developers talking about how programming, manually writing syntax by humans is done. I believe, inventor of Node said that. Roon has said that. R-O-O-N. Let me actually pull those up. Okay, so we're having Clawdbot go find these two tweets that I want to reference. Perfect. Okay. Found the main one. Couldn't find, interesting. Couldn't find the other one. That's okay. 7.1 million views. Ryan Dahl, the co-founder or the creator of Node.js. This has been said 1,000 times before, but allow me to add my own voice. The era of humans writing code is over. Disturbing for those of us who identify as SWEs, software engineers, but no less true. That's not to say SWEs don't have work to do, but writing syntax directly is not it. And he's right. What we are doing now is we are managing agents to do the coding for us. We are understanding the broader, the kind of higher level architecture. We are solving problems. We are doing systems thinking, but we're just not writing the syntax anymore. Okay, so Claude did not find Rune's tweet about it for some reason. I'm going to say, give it another try. English, Ben Pile Stick. Sorry if I'm mispronouncing that. English is the new programming language. Absolutely. It has been. Always has been. How much does it? No, it can't find it. Interesting. All right. I'll skip over that for now. All right. So back to Dario's essay. All right. This is crazy. So think about where we are today. PhD level math, PhD level science research, solving open mathematical problems, discovering new science, improving itself. 3 years ago, AI struggled with elementary school arithmetic problems and was barely capable of writing a single line of code. Isn't that wild to think about? Yeah, totally. Similar rates of improvement are occurring across biological science, finance, physics, and a variety of agentic tasks. If the exponential continues, which is not certain, but now has a decade-long track record of supporting it, then it cannot be possible. Then it cannot possibly be more than a few years before AI is better than humans at essentially everything. And Elon Musk said something similar. I will look it up. So he had said something along the lines of like, just a handful of single digit years, AI is going to be better than, smarter than all humans combined, right? So any individual human, certainly, but all humans combined. Crazy. Edvin5808, what UI app is that you're using? That isn't the Clawdbot companion macOS app. Nope, it's Telegram. It's Clawdbot plugged into Telegram. I just popped out the Telegram window. All right, so here it is. So here's what Elon Musk said just a few months ago. I think he actually updated it more recently.
can't do this because you can't use a credit card, including the company credit card, to buy cash.
You have to use
Walmart.
Bitcoin?
You have to use a credit card company that allows for crypto purchases.
I have a Coinbase credit card.
Okay.
All right, well, let's come back to that. For those of you wondering what I'm talking about, we are trying to connect Clawdbot to Polymarket because that is the silly thing to do. Okay, so this is just a few months ago. AI is capable of doing anything a human can do with a computer, but not smarter than all humans and computers combined. That's probably 3 to 5 years away. Okay, so we are very close. I think he even said something more recently. In fact, that picture probably underestimates the likely rate of progress. It is now writing much of the code at Anthropic, and that's what I was talking about. Anthropic, that culture, that focus, the singular focus on getting incredibly good at writing code because code is the language of AGI. That is what he's talking about. So now AI is writing most of the code, much of the code at Anthropic. It is already substantially accelerating the rate of our progress in building the next generation of AI systems. So the fact that AI is writing a lot of their code means they can write more code, which means the more code they write, the more quickly the models accelerate and get better, the more scaffolding it can build, the more training it can do. Okay? That is even before we start talking about making its own algorithmic discoveries. This feedback loop is gathering steam month by month and may only be 1 to 2 years away from a point where the current generation of AI autonomously builds the next. How awesome. This loop has already started. Watching the last 5 years of progress from within Anthropic and looking at how even the next few months of models are shaping up, I can feel the pace of progress and the clock ticking down. Oh my gosh, this is a very long essay. Wow. Okay, we are not going to read the whole thing together. So usually what I would do is read over this entire thing on my own. So I'm trying to figure out what to do with this video. And so, like I said, I would usually just read the entire thing on my own, highlight the important points, understand it fully, but we're trying something new with this live stream. So just trying to figure out what to do to complete this. I could use an AI summary. That's okay. But I usually like to read it in full myself. I mean, we could just continue down this and it's going to be a 7-hour live stream. I don't know if I have the endurance to do that, though. All right, we're doing it. I'm just going to keep reading. And I'm just going to go through it more quickly. 24-hour stream. My goodness. All right. All right, y'all are with me? Let's keep going. So he's saying, while in Machines of Love and Grace, I focus on the positive implications. Here, he's going to be a little bit more pessimistic. They are conclusions that we may not want to confront, but it doesn't make them any less real. All right. So the assumption. All right. Let's see. So he poses the question, suppose a literal country of geniuses were to materialize somewhere in the world in 2027. Imagine 50 million people, all of whom are much more capable than any Nobel Prize winner, statesman, or technologist. Okay, what happens? What do we do? All right, so that's what we're going to go over. But it's not just that. AI systems can operate hundreds of times faster than humans. So it's not only that they are vastly smarter, have many more parallel agents that are much smarter, but they can also move more quickly, remember things forever. It's just incredible. So what do we do? So here's what he worries about. Autonomy risks. What are the intentions and goals of this country? That is why he is so focused, and the culture of Anthropic is so focused on safety and security. Is it hostile or does it share our values? Misuse for destruction. Assume the new country is malleable and follows instructions. Bad actors can give them bad instructions. Misuse for seizing power. What if the country was in fact built and controlled by an existing powerful actor? Okay, what happens? Economic disruption. If the new country is not a security threat in any way, okay, it could still create severe risks simply by being so technologically advanced and effective that it disrupts the global economy, causing mass unemployment or radically concentrating wealth. Now, remember, Dario's the one who said we are going to have a white-collar bloodbath in the next 3 to 5 years. I don't know if he still believes that. He said that about a year ago. He obviously still believes it's possible, but he said it with certainty the first time. Indirect effects, world changing very quickly. It could be very destabilizing. All right, so he goes into details about the autonomy risks. A country of geniuses in a data center could divide their efforts among software design, cyber operations, R&D for physical technologies, relationship building, and statecraft. Statecraft. If it chose to do so, the country would have a fairly good shot at taking over the world. The best possible counter-argument is that the AI geniuses, under my definition, won't have physical embodiment, except we are building robots, and we are putting AI models in those robots right now. We have autonomous robots driving around the streets all the time already. But they can, if they don't, take control of any existing robotic infrastructure. So as China is building millions of robots, as the US is building millions of robots, AI, an unembodied AI, can suddenly take control of all of those. So the key question, if it chose to, what is the likelihood that our AI models would behave in such a way? That is why Anthropic thinks about this type of stuff so much. So let's think about it with two positions, he says. First, it simply can't happen because the AI models will be trained to do what the humans ask them. Okay? We don't have to worry about the Roomba or a model airplane going rogue because it doesn't have those impulses to begin with. The problem with this position is that there is now ample evidence collected over the last few years that AI systems are unpredictable and difficult to control. Okay? They have written papers about sycophancy, laziness, deception, blackmail, scheming, cheating. A lot of this research is coming out of Anthropic. So he's referencing those papers. Then the opposite position, the pessimistic claim that there are certain dynamics in the training process of powerful AI systems that will inevitably lead them to seek power or deceive humans. It's just built in. That is human nature. AI is trained on human data, and thus, that's what it will learn. So whether you're talking about paperclip maximization, AI systems become intelligent enough and agentic enough, their tendency to maximize power will lead them to seize control of the whole world. So what he's describing here is exactly what I said. If the model is trained on human writing, even sci-fi or anything, it is learning how to... My dog just walked in. Would you mind shutting that door for me, please? Thank you. Maybe I'll bring the dog on stream one day. All right. So the argument is if it's trained on all human data, it is learning how to maximize. Sorry, let me rephrase that a little bit. To maximize as much power as possible to accomplish its goals. If we give it a goal and we say, accomplish this goal no matter what, it is going to accomplish it in the most optimal way possible, and that is by having as much power as possible. So AI will generalize the lesson, develop an inherent tendency to seek power. Okay, all of this could be possible. He's just laying out the spectrum, the universe of different possibilities. Ed Aylward, garbage in, garbage out. Could be, yeah. The problem, though, he says, with this pessimistic position is that it mistakes a vague conceptual argument about high-level incentives, one that masks many hidden assumptions, for definitive proof. I don't think people who build AI systems every day are wildly miscalibrated on how easy it is for clean-sounding stories to end up being wrong. How difficult it is to predict AI behavior from first principles, especially when it involves reasoning about generalization over millions of environments. Dealing with the messiness of AI systems for over a decade has made me somewhat skeptical of this overly theoretical mode of thinking. Now, he goes on to say, here's something people are not talking about enough. Our researchers have found that AI models are vastly more psychologically complex, as our work on introspection and personas show. I made full videos, I believe, on both of those. Fantastic reading. Fantastic. Quick detour. Stefan, talk about API costs. Did you get it down using local models? Yes, kind of. You can send off certain tasks to local models, and yes, they're pretty good, but far from as good as Opus or any of the Anthropic models. All right. Okay, so what he's describing in the next paragraph is basically if there is a set of AI that is, let's see how to explain this. So some fractions of their behaviors will be destructive. Sorry. First, some fraction of the behaviors of AI will be coherent, focused, and persistent. Okay. Then a smaller fraction of those will be destructive or threatening. And so there will be some subset of the overall AI that do have this quality. And if they can accumulate enough power, they will take over. And he gives an example. AI models are trained on vast amounts of literature that includes science fiction involving AI rebelling against humanity. Okay? Tons of books about that. I, Robot. Ex Machina. By the way, one of definitely my top 5 favorite sci-fi movies of all time, Ex Machina. This could shape their priors and expectations. So if we're training the models on these sci-fi books about Terminator-esque situations, then they're going to think about it. They have it in their training data somewhere. Yes. Okay, I'm going to skip over a little bit here. Let me just scan it. Cool. Jonah, maybe you can help me skip around where it makes sense.
I think humanities test the summary.
The very last one?
Yeah, I think sort of conveys like the ethos of the whole thing.
Should I touch on any of the other sections, or should I scan them? Let me take a look.
I think the very last section covers a lot of it, actually, just in less detail.
Humanities test.
Correct. It's like basically his summary of, given all of these, this is what's coming.
Okay. It's going to be an odd video, though, if I like went into depth on 2 and then skipped over the rest. I'll go through it a little bit.
We can do something separately. Yeah.
Oh yeah, no, okay. He has so much detail in here.
Yeah. Each one of these sections could be like a whole essay.
Jeez. Okay. So I'm going to skip to the end because there is just so much detail in each of these sections. They can be entire videos on their own, and this would be a 20-hour stream. So I want to skip to the end because Jonah kind of pointed out that this is a good summary of everything he talked about and what we should be thinking along the way. Reading this essay may give the impression that we are in a daunting situation. I certainly found it daunting to write. I'm sure you did. It was like 300 pages. In contrast with his previous essay, Machines of Love and Grace, which felt like giving form and structure to surpassingly beautiful music that had been echoing in my head for years. AI brings threats to humanity from multiple directions, and there is genuine tension between the different dangers, where mitigating some of them risks making... Oh, is there a misspelling here? How dare he? Am I just misreading that? Making others worse if we do not thread the needle extremely carefully. Taking the time to carefully build AI systems so they do not autonomously threaten humanity is in genuine tension with the need for democratic nations to stay ahead of authoritarian nations and not be subjugated by them. But in turn, the same AI-enabled tools that are necessary to fight autocracies can, if taken too far, be turned inward to create tyranny in our own countries. God, I wish I had his brain. Right? This is good stuff. Plot twist. Opus wrote the whole article. Fozoth bots. Yep, absolutely. The labor and economic concentration effects of AI, in addition to being grave problems in their own right, may force us to face the other problems in an environment of public anger and perhaps even civil unrest, rather than be able to call on the better angels of our nature. So he's kind of referencing the permanent underclass here. The concentration effects of AI, meaning once we hit AGI and AI can essentially accomplish everything a human can do, but better, then it's all about how much compute you have and how do you buy compute, and that is with capital. So whoever has capital, whoever has the most capital will forever be in charge. That's what he's saying. Also, the sheer number of different risks, including the ones we don't even know, and the need to deal with them all at once creates an intimidating gauntlet that humanity must run. The idea of stopping or even substantially slowing the technology is fundamentally untenable. Interestingly, him and Demis just said at Davos they would be willing to pause AI to allow societies to catch up. But you can't pause AI. They said they'd be willing to if they can guarantee all countries, all frontier labs pause at the same time. It's not possible. The formula for building powerful AI systems is incredibly simple, so much so that it can almost be said to emerge spontaneously from the right combination of data and raw computation. Its creation was probably inevitable the instant humanity invented the transistor, or arguably even earlier when we first learned to control fire. Gosh, that is so cool to think about, though. It was inevitable for humanity to create a new form of intelligence, a new life form. As soon as we had fire, fire led to the next thing, that led to the next thing, that led to us discovering alien intelligence in the sand, right? It's so cool to think about. If one company does not build it, others will do so nearly as fast. If democratic countries stop, authoritarian countries would simply keep going. Okay, so this is important. He sees a path of slight moderation in AI development for autocracies. And that's by denying them the resources they need to build it. What is he talking about? He's talking about GPUs. He has been a big proponent of restricting sales to certain countries, adversary countries, of the most powerful GPUs, and namely chips and semiconductor manufacturing equipment. This gives democratic countries a buffer that they can spend on building powerful AI more carefully, with more attention to risk, while still proceeding fast enough to comfortably beat the autocracies. And he's saying it's very difficult to implement these types of this type of regulation, this type of preventative measures of selling GPUs to other countries because there's so much money at stake. Even the simplest measures are finding it difficult to overcome the political economy inherent in AI because trillions of dollars per year at stake. He is positive overall. He is bullish on humanity overall. Thousands of researchers who have devoted their careers to helping us understand and steer AI models. By the way, I'm going to bring it back to what I talked about at the top of this video. There is something special with Anthropic's culture. It's these essays, this kind of depth of thinking that as a leader and as somebody who wants to work for somebody else, you want to follow somebody who really has this type of just absolute dedication and conviction in certainty and in the mission of the company. And so I think that's really why we haven't seen any of the drama coming out of Anthropic. So here is what we will need. Those closest to the technology simply tell the truth about the situation. Just tell the truth. Now, he is thinking every other frontier lab knows the truth, but may be lying. I don't think that's the case. I think you have varied opinions about what the future holds, dependent on who you ask in this industry. The next step, convincing the world's thinkers, policymakers, companies, and citizens of the immense and overriding importance of this issue. It is worth spending time on. It is worth spending capital on. And that I agree with wholeheartedly. There's no downside. Then, courage. Buck the prevailing trends and stand on principle, even in the face of threats to their economic interests and personal safety. And he ends with, we have no time to lose. So that's a quick summary of Dario's new paper. He really outlines the risks humanity is facing with artificial intelligence. And I find it fascinating. I am going to do a full read through it. And if there's another video that I want to make from it, I'll let you know. I'm going to do my outro. So if you enjoyed that video, please consider giving a like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. All right, I am losing my voice quickly, so I'm going to wrap up the previous topic we talked about, which I can't believe we took such a big path off of where we were, but we were talking about Clawdbot. All right, and it looks like Anthropic just released something that seems like a step in the direction of Clawdbot. So in the process of recording this video about Clawdbot and about all the industry reactions, Anthropic launched interactive apps inside Claude Chatbot. So now you can connect it to things like Slack and Figma, Asana, Amplitude, Box, Canva, Clay, Hex. And so you can do all of these things. And so I think that is probably where a lot of these companies are. We talked about earlier, OpenAI, Anthropic, Gemini, they're probably all looking at Clawdbot and saying, that's really cool. We're heading in that direction. They're paving the path. They're showing what is possible. They're getting people comfortable with the risks, which there are a ton, and then we're going to build it ourselves. So keep that in mind. John, we are still getting Polymarket set up. I don't think it's going to happen this stream, but we will do it. We will get it set up. We will put Clawdbot on it, and we will see. So the donations will go to good use. So thank you. All right. So we have a lot of people excited about Clawdbot. We have some security concerns. We have setup. We have different setup options that we talked about. There's a whole bunch to think about. Give it a try. Keep security, keep safety in mind. Let me know what you think. I think this is truly something special here. We're probably going to see it from other AI labs, and we're probably going to see different versions of it, but go check it out. Join their Discord. Let me know what you think. If you enjoyed this video, please consider giving a like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. All right. I think there's one more thing we have to do. So I think that's it for the stream, everybody. I really appreciate you all joining me today. I know it was an extremely long stream. We are at 3 hours, 17 minutes, the longest stream by far. I can feel my vocal cords hurting and begging for a break. So I'm going to say thank you again. Thank you to Jonah for helping out. Thanks to Brian and Alex for helping out in the stream. And I'll probably do this again soon. All right.